right. Let's get this thing going the best way possible. Appreciate everybody for jumping in and joining this episode. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Let's go. Come on. I hope all is well. Appreciate you guys so much for being part of this episode. Let's go. Be sure to hit that like, share this content. Let a friend or a neighbor know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. Come on. Yep. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate you for jumping in. The name is Law Nation. All right, so I know I've been away for a minute. I have not been talking to you guys since April the 1st. And you know, April the 1st, you can really not get into details because everybody's in on April Fool's jokes and stuff like that, and I really don't do that. They do the April Fool's thing, but I can tell you guys that since that time frame, the Cowboys been sitting back. They had Dallas Day on April the 1st, I believe, on Friday. They had Dallas Day, and also they had all of the listings of all of the people that the Cowboys brought in for the 30 visit to be released. And right before I was going to go live at that episode, I saw my guy Scott Walker go over it, and I said, man, let him go ahead and go over all of those listings there. And it was good. It was a good episode. You guys be sure to check out Scott Walker's show on the 30 visits or what have you. That's A to Z Sports Dallas. And we do know that the Cowboys been known to do these two things. They draft from the 30 visit, and they draft or they pick up somebody from the Dallas Day. They do. And we can sit back and really look into this and say, all right, one of these guys will have the silver and blue on. Now, we don't know who it will be, and I know a favorite right now, Jelani Walker, right? Or Woods. I keep on saying Walker. Is there a Jelani Walker out there? I keep saying that for some reason. But Jelani Woods is a guy. I like Jeremy Ruckert as well. He was one of the guys that visited. And let me see if I can pull that list up. Not that one. I think I lost it. There we go. The Cowboys 30 visit. So you guys take a real good look at that, because one of these guys will wear the silver and blue and have the star on their helmet. And off of this list, who is the guy that we can say to ourselves, man, you got Drake London, you got Chris Olave, you got Charles Cross. I'm just going to put out some notable names. Kenyon Green, he's a real good guy. Let's see. Zion Johnson, he's a favorite. He was a visit. Malik Davis, a running back from Florida, he's pretty good. Let me see who else is on this list that we can really say. Jalen Watermeyer, you can say that, hey, he would be a guy that could fit into this particular system. Sam Williams, a lot of people love Sam Williams. And here's the truths of it. The absolute truth would be this right here. Shout out to you, Jametta. Appreciate you for jumping in. Here's the absolute truth of it all. When their number and their name is being called, regardless of what's going on with the Cowboys organization, the news that's hitting the airways like it's crazy, we will all be jumping for joy. Yeah, we will be jumping for joy when the news is hit. And the Cowboys, although let me see if I can hit this right. Although the Cowboys been a team that we can all say, man, this offseason, we could talk about the Amari Cooper situation Oh my gosh, we could talk about the Randy Gregory scenario. Oh, we can go into detailings of what's going on with the Jones family, whether you perceive that it's personal or not. It's a mess. It's a flat out mess. It is. And they got to overcome all of that. And it hit me like a sack of bricks. It just hit me. It's like, man, the Jones family go through all of this stuff that they've been going through. Since 1996, by the way. And they stay in the forefront of all of the news and information, regardless of the situation that happened and it occurred. I can't make this stuff up, Charlotte Jones with Anderson, well, she removed the Anderson now. Charlotte Jones going through her situation, as well as Jerry Jones Jr. I didn't even know that he had a situation, that he going through some stuff. And you thought his dad was doing some crazy stuff, man. The junior. Man, they say the apple don't fall far from the tree. It must was a stick of mud all around that tree because it literally just fell right there and it didn't roll. And Jerry Jones Jr., he got a sex tape that's out. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that's going on with the Jones family. And the only one that we can all sit back on and say, hey, he got a clean sheet because nothing has leaked out on him yet. And that's Stephen Jones. Believe it or not, he's the only guy that's got the clean sheet out there. And hopefully nothing leaks out about what's been going on with him. But a third of the Cowboys organization and franchise would tell you straight up that, man, that they already given him a nickname, Savage says trade Dak Prescott. You can't. He got a no-trade clause in his contract. So you might as well go ahead and roll with Rain Dakota Prescott and see what we can do. And the reason why I have this footage here is these are the guys, according to the Cowboys website, that they look at it like these are the pillars of the Cowboys community as it relates to with the silver and blue. Dak Prescott, Parsons, Ezekiel Elliott, and Trayvon Diggs. Now, when you look at that picture there, how can the Cowboys better their best? Trayvon Diggs, and let's talk about Trayvon Diggs and Parsons. Y'all know I'm team defense. The offense last year finished number one collectively. It was the best offense in the National Football League. And, of course, let me show you guys this list right here. This was the Dallas Day prospects or what have you, the guys that came out and that's really associated and affiliated with the area. They do it by zip code or what have you. The Dallas Day guys. And one of the guys that brought to my attention, I like Reggie Robinson from SMU, but I really like Danny Gray. You guys see Danny Gray. He's a 4.33 guy. He's quick. He can catch the little tunnel screen or bubble screen and get upfield. I like him. And I like Charleston Rambo. I like him as well. And one thing that I'm going to say before we touch on the defense is that I believe in the hearts of hearts, two things is going to happen. Three things really going to happen. The Cowboys will draft an offensive lineman out of this draft, right? That's a given. The second thing, the Cowboys will draft a wide receiver out of this situation. And three, the Dallas Cowboys will draft the tight end. That's all on the offensive side. So offensive lineman, wide receiver, and tight end. How do you know that? Well, the family had already said these are our direction. This is where we're going to go. We absolutely love to go and get an offensive lineman that's ready to play week one. And also, we got to fill in that hole. Show of hands is in the chat for those who really believe that they're looking at the 2022 season saying, yeah, we good. We good with James Washington, and we good with Simi Fehoko. No one can show that. And just to break this down, while I was absent, a lot of people hit me up, tons of people hit me up saying, Law, did you hear that the Miami Dolphins traded Devontae Parker for a third-round draft pick, and you mean to tell me that the Cowboys couldn't get at least a third-round draft pick for Amari Cooper and blah, 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 blah? I get it, right? The Cowboys are not known to not known to trade for draft picks well. We not. And the other missing or the hitting element is the fact that, we escaped $20 million from not paying Amari Cooper. Cleveland Brown had to deal with that. But the Cleveland Browns restructured Amari Cooper's contract, and they don't have to pay him $20 million. Oh, newsflash, we didn't have to do that either. But we painted ourselves into a corner, and they felt as if though a $20 million price tag for Amari Cooper is not worth it. So now that's why we have to go into this draft and look at a wide receiver. And I'm quite sure that most of you guys will look into this thing and say, Chris Olave wouldn't be that bad right about now, right? Treylon Burks wouldn't be that bad right about now. Oh, those guys were part of the Dallas top 20 visits, 30 visits. So, in Drake London. So, I'm looking at it like they're going to go with somewhere as it relates to that. Cowboys, Dallas, appreciate you. We them boys go win the Super Bowl. That's why we're not excited about 2022. Okay. They're going to have to show us how bad they want it. Okay, I feel you on that. Shout out to you, Trip Aces. Offensive line, defensive line should be the first two picks. Save the wide receivers and tight ends for the latter rounds or the later rounds. I agree. We can all look into it and say, okay, offensive line is what we really need, right? And then, of course, get back to the trenches of defensive interior. A fascinating news that I heard from 105.3 The Fan is that every team, hear me out, every team that Dan Quinn been a part of in his second year, they take said team to the Super Bowl. He was with the Seattle Seahawks the second year they went to the Super Bowl. Oh, when he was the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, they went to the Super Bowl. Now, I told you guys before that the Cowboys should not be worried about Super Bowl. They shouldn't leave their mouth, right? The Cowboys need to be fixing this right here, this recipe. We're in a playoff game. Since 1996, we're not going to talk about nothing personal, but the Cowboys didn't do anything since 1996. We have 4 playoff wins since 1996, and that's not me being negative about this team, right? But these are the facts. So we're going to have to, shout out to you, Starboy C-Pain, appreciate you. We're going to have to go back and look at things and say, okay, what are our steps? How can we improve this team? First and foremost, we have to go back to this chart and take a look at what makes teams great. Defense. Shout out to you, Louise. Defense. Build around Parsons. Build around Trayvon Diggs. Figure out a way to bring in an extra weapon for defense. We know that according to historical references and data, we know that the Cowboys tend to dip back into the free agency after the draft. So we have less than 30 days before we can get this thing all the way out. We're going to dip back into the draft. That could be the situation and scenario for the Honey Badger, right? And the price goes down after the draft. It do. We need a defensive tackle. This is from Horn. Appreciate you. Well, the defensive tackle, do you need a veteran defensive tackle or do you need a fresh defensive tackle, a young, youthful defensive tackle? Because I can clearly see a picture in a scenario where you can get Devontae Wyatt, you can go get or a Jordan Davis. You got those guys that will be there. In what type of defensive tackle? Are you looking for a 1-tech or a 3-tech? Those are things that we need to really pay attention to. And in this one-gap scheme, how much will we utilize the big 1-tech? Is that big Bo positioning? Although Justin Hamilton, he showed us a little bit more than Big Bo last season. And we fooled around and got him up out of here. He's gone to Denver land. Danny Gray, he's a 4th or 5th round wide receiver. This is from Burt. Yeah, I've seen some mocks where Danny Gray fall into the 4th or the 5th round. Yeah. Jordan Davis won't be there. This is from Thino. Well, what about Travis Jones? Will he be there? Oh, my God. Plain stupid not to restructure deals and get Bobby Wagner. This is from Clarence. Shout out to you. And keep Gregory. But what do you think about Jerry Jones stepping down? All right, so Jerry Jones will not step down. Let's just get that out of the way. Let's just talk about this. Jerry Jones will not step down. Charlotte Jones will not step down. Stephen Jones will not step down. Jerry Jones Jr. will not step down. This is a family business, whereas one of these family members must be in charge. Now, Shy Anderson, the ex-husband of Charlotte Jones, he was in control of a lot of operations. But since now all of the ground is soft and everywhere you walk it's like eggshells, right? And this is me giving you guys some backstory. I'm a million ways away from this. I'm not saying that I'm accurate and right with all of this, but one can only imagine. When you inside the fold, some things that happened before it happened. And by this stuff is going all crazy and quirky and all of that other stuff that's going on, of course, tea is being spilled. And that is the reality of it. So, and the craziest of all of this, Cowboy Nation, is that all of this stuff happened after 1996. Just look it up. Check out the report from David Moore. It's on my Twitter page, and it is what it is at this point. Let me pull up my Twitter and check out the report. I'm going to share this link right here. And I'm going to share this with everybody. Just read it. You don't have to take my word from it, and you don't have to say, well, hey, that's personal. You just read it yourself. Just read it yourself, and then that goes into details of what's going on with this organization. It would flat out give you details of what's going on with this organization. And sometimes you can be so clouded that you got chaos is going here and there. It spill over into your workday work. It do. And when you guys understand that, you will find out. Shout out to you, Marvin. Appreciate you. We're going to end up drafting Zion or Green. This is from Iceberg Q. Well, I would love Zion. And here's the reason why. From the interior aspect, we have been known for one thing from the interior. Weak. We've been known to be weak. We've been known to be soft. Yeah. Soft. And Connor Williams, he was a Dallas Day visit guy back in the days. Him, Lance Dunbar, as well as Cole Beasley. He was a Dallas Day guy, right? In the Dallas area. So with that being said, somebody off of this list, right, would be very sought after, if the Cowboys fool around and see that they are ready to be drafted or what have you. But Zion Johnson, going back to him, he was by far in the combine, and I know you can only take it with a grain of salt, the strongest guy as it relates to offensive linemen in that particular event. And if you're looking at raw strength and you put that in the inside, maybe, just maybe, you would see a better game play out of Tyler Biadasz. This is us hoping. And maybe Zach Martin, wouldn't overcompensate to help out the center, right? And, of course, with Terrence still at that right tackle, you can say, all right, our situation with this offensive line now will be the biggest reservation. If Terrence Steele can just be solid, just the way he was solid in the 6 games that he was playing, and we had that run hot streak, right? Hot streak. You got Terrence Steele, right tackle, right guard, Zach Martin. Tyler Biotis going into his 3rd year, but basically his 2nd year. And then you will have Zion Johnson. And in a pinch, you will have Tyron Smith at that left tackle. Josh Ball knocking on the door saying, hey, I'm trying to learn all I can from the GOAT. You will have a better offensive line. I'm not saying that Connor Williams was the only person at fault, but he was at most of the time. Him and with the combination of him and Tyler Biotis were the weakest links last year. They were. Got some dog in him. Chris Graham, appreciate you. Eric, he got some dog in him. Let's see. Jalen Naylor, okay. He was a track star at 6 foot. Okay. All right, I'll look him up. He's a 5th wide receiver, but I think he could do some good ones. This is from Bert. Who you talking about? Dak need to be comfortable enough to step into the pocket. Don't think he was in the past years. This is from Iceberg Q. The pocket will always be, it should be the comfort spot, right? The pocket. Climbing the pocket, going through your progressions, making sure you hit your targets right. Yeah, I agree. 10-plus penalty is not acceptable. This is from Clarence. Yep, he had 15 penalties. 15. And why? I got my guy that's on my Facebook. I think his name is Smallwood. He'll let me know and say, hey, he used to officiate for professions, and he said that most of the times Connor Williams, short arms, small, light in the pants. When the defender crosses frame or what have you, he tend to reach. And when you reach, of course, that flag automatically come out. I want somebody to be strong at the point of contact, the POC, and I believe Zion can give us that. If not, then I like Kenyon Green. It's not one or the other. One is way super better than the other, but that's just my preference. I like Zion and then Kenyon Green. And, of course, all of the other guys that's above them, like the Alabama kid, Neal, it's impossible for him to drop that far. He kept getting beat. What do you think is our most needed position? This is from Mr. BJ Swags. Our most important position. Let me ask you this, and this is just a philosophy from my end of it. What's more important when you're building a house? The doors, the electric components, the windows, or the foundation? The things that you don't see, the foundation. That is the most important position. The center of it all, the core, will always be the most important position. And what a lot of people do, they will see a house and say, oh, it's a beautiful home. But if your foundation is not solid, the doors will not close properly. The plumbing will not work. You can always put fresh paint on it, right? You can always mask some of the cracks that's on the side. But the foundation will always be the most important position. I believe that you build from the inside out. You build from the core on its way out. And if the Cowboys are wise, they will look at this and say, all right, cool. We know Chris Olave is nice for this team, right? We know that Treylon Burks can help this team out tremendously. But we need to re-solidify the foundation. And before you build a house, you got to dig deep, right? You got to make sure the foundation is right. But when you look at, you got to have that core philosophy. And there's two ways the Cowboys could have approached this. the free agency, and then the draft. You know, there's commodities out there. When even in a positioning of trades, there's a known commodity and the unknown commodity, right? There's a situation where I know for sure what this brings to the table. And that's pretty much your free agency. The unknown will always be the draft. You never know what the kids will do when they have spare time, when they have multitudes of money in their pockets. Are they coachable? And that's the whole point of buying in and sending your rep out there to the program they went to, right? Seeing how they interact with others. Are they teachable? And most importantly, are they coachable? And that is that's what needs to happen. So on this current roster, the most important thing for the Cowboys to fix out will be that offensive line. If not, we go into the 2022 season. Who will be our left guard right now? Who will be our left guard if we don't fill that hole in, right? And if you already seen your quarterback running for his life, right, and you seen Tyler Biadasz getting picked up and put into the lap, don't matter. You got to get pressure. You got to get help inside. Same could be said on the defensive side. Yes, they read up Carlos Watkins. Fantastic year, by the way, for him. Average year by most defensive tackles. It's crazy because he had an average year, below average year by most defensive tackles, believe it or not. Carlos Watkins. But we sit around and said we praised him for the aspect of the way he played. Hold on for a quick second. Bear with me right quick. Someone was checking in on me. All right, so that's the reality of it. That is the absolute reality of it, Cowboy Nation. O-line is critical. This is from Jeff. Tyrant's too old. No left guard. Bad center. Jeff, he putting the truth bomb out there. Critical analysis. Shout out to you, Roland. Appreciate you. DeMarvin Leal. Some people got him coming in as the late second, early thirds. And if DeMarvin goes into the first round, you'd be like, wow, he must have did something to really step up his draft grades. But shout out to you, Chris. Trey Williams, defensive end, Arkansas. He's a beast. I have him as a third-round player, but no one is talking about him. All right, Bert, I haven't made it to Trey Williams' tape as well, so I'm going to tell you, I got less than 30 days. So what I'm going to do is if they are not like top 10, top 15 players at this point, just being real with you guys, it will be a situation and scenario that whoever we draft, I'm gonna do film assessment on them and give you guys my raw analysis. Far as whoever we pick up after the draft, because you know how that goes, Cowboy Nation. We will do our film assessments and analysis on them, and we'll be planning to go out to the Oxnard trips or what have you, and if possible, I think that they are open things back up in Texas altogether as it relates to those mini OTAs or what have you, and I do my best to get those information out to you guys. Sauce Gardner, I think he's way gone before we can get to him, Jacob. Coach Marv's, appreciate you. He says, I hear ticket price is going up 20%. Need more money. Probably so. You know, ticket price. Shout out to you, Coach Marv. Shout out to you, Coach Marv. let's listen to this audio from 105.3 The Fan, and then I'm gonna give you guys my assessment on that, and then you guys okay? I'm only seeing a spoonful of people in here today, and I know it was a Sunday. So if you guys are okay, maybe we can open up the phone lines if you guys are okay, If you guys are okay. If not, we can boogie.
It'll be interesting to see if he can get health from his left defensive end and maybe the defensive tackle who he was missing last year. Will he come up with a more creative plan, an even further creative plan for his linebacker Micah Parsons to rush? What's he going to get out of Jabril Cox is a big question I have right now. And then will Boss Man Fat be at cornerback in one of these roles? Maybe, initially he might be a dime player. Can he take away the opportunity? Can he replace maybe Anthony Brown? Maybe make Anthony Brown have to go play nickel. They kick Jordan Lewis out of the mix. They've got some guys that that have some questions about them. I'm fascinated to see what happens with the defenses in this draft, because to me, when you just look at, say, 30 visit guys, it doesn't appear like they're going to go after any first-round guys with the exception of that defensive tackle.
Okay, so how do they get better? You lose Randy Gregory. Yeah. You're not spending the one.
Right.
You have about 4 or 5 guys who could play better, and maybe Parsons.
Yeah.
I mean, can Parsons be even better? I think he could at stand-up linebacker.
He absolutely could. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. They're going to have to come up, him, George Edwards, those guys are going to have to come up with some creative ways of doing that. I mean, you got basically your safeties all intact there. So that
Hooker could be better a year separated.
Absolutely.
Could he become a playmaker consistently?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. You play him at free and let him have a little bit more range to him. And then you've also got, with Curse, Stephen Jones was hinting around that the linebacker situation. Now he's like, don't forget we have Curse. And if you, like I said, the only real true linebacker, first-round linebacker, again, the 30 visits, was Lloyd from Utah. Yeah. So they're looking for maybe some guys. Maybe not they're looking at that first-round guy, but maybe there's a second- or third-round guy that could come and help. But for Quinn, I don't think he's going to get as much help defensively in this draft. When I mean first-round help, maybe not even second-round help. Could see this group going offensive line, or wide receiver, something like that, some combination, and then, okay, Dan, let's take a pick here and see what you got. And that could help him, though. That one guy, I mean, Dan Quinn's proven he can evaluate these guys, and maybe he picks the right guy.
All right, so shout out to everybody on this beautiful day. All right, so that was Brian Broaders, and I forgot the other guy's name, but from G-Bag Nation. And here's the thing. If the Cowboys do go with offensive linemen, which we all can say, yes, we finally got somebody on the offensive line that can help. There will still be a slight growing pains with that. You still got to go through the rookie growth aspect of it. So let's not think that this guy is just going to be able to walk on water. Just know that he's going to go through his little lumps. And he's going to probably be over-evaluated and everything. And y'all know how we do. We're going to be like, that's the next L.A., even if it's Zion Johnson, right, or Kenyon Green. So you guys got to put that on the shelf. And then in the second round, they go with a wide receiver, whoever in the second round. And then they say, okay, Dan, we give you the keys to go defense, or what have you. I'm gonna tell you guys, the trueness of it is we don't know, for one, but how you really put the good spirits back on everything would have been through the free agency. Whereas you go through the free agency to plug in some of the needs, and then you go purely in this draft with the ability and the mind. BPA, and you don't oversee, you don't overdraft or what have you. But let's listen to these guys.
I think it's got to come from the defensive line if we're going to get a push, and maybe Osa and Gallimore are better, and I think they've flashed at times to suggest that is possible. They're definitely still young enough, but I think I'd be surprised if the defense is better than last year. I mean, they were close to top 5 in a lot of different metrics, and a lot of it was due to how many takeaways they forced.
It was amazing how in the second half of the season, though, that Dallas had the struggles on offense and that defense just held up.
Yeah.
It didn't fall apart, and I mean, like I say, I think if you look at the focus for Dan, he's looking at it as like, guys, I know I'm not going to get a bunch of draft picks, so I've got to make the guys that I got last year better.
Okay, so
that philosophy I can see making a lot of guys better. Okay, let's talk about this real quickly. Kelvin Joseph, going into his second year, things should slow down for him. My biggest disappointment out of Kelvin Joseph was PT. He didn't have a lot of playing time, and I wanted him to be just like Trayvon Diggs, just rip the Band-Aid off of him, throw him out there, see whether or not he can go through his growing pains, his warts, get burnt a couple times, get some flags on him or what have you, right? And understand that Anthony Brown, we know that's Anthony Brown, right? Even though he had his best season, what have you, he's not the long-term situation. Go ahead and go through your warts so that now you know your future. You drafted him. It would have been a different story if Kelvin Joseph was drafted in the 4th or the 5th round. But by you drafting this guy in the 2nd round, man, he needed to have been out there on the field, regardless of the situation. He shouldn't have been a healthy stretch, in my opinion. This is just my thoughts. You put Anthony Brown on the bench and you just roll the dice with Kelvin Joseph, and if Kelvin Joseph get beat bad and all of these things, just let him know, like, shoot, Anthony, we got Anthony. We'll bench it, dog. You know what I'm saying? All right? And that would have been a better situation because he would have been playing with fire up under him, knowing that if he slip up too many times, that you have number 30 that's going to come in to replace him, right? And then you'll know what you got. So now, heading into this 2nd year, hopefully they just throw him out there, right? All right, so the whole conversational piece is the same for offensive line. Terrence Steele, if you knew without a shadow of a doubt that Terrence Steele was favored to start at right tackle, to know that you can go 17 weeks with him or 16 weeks, you should have just kept him at right tackle. Because if you have no intentions in mind to keep La'el Collins, it would have been better to know for a finite reason that my right tackle is Terrence Steele. I need for him to get as much reps as possible so that I know for sure that going into his 3rd year or what have you, that I got somebody that I can depend on. Now you just don't know because you played with fire with that. You split that season in half. You played musical chairs with your right tackle. And now you're just hoping that Terrence Steele can give you what we've seen for those 6 weeks or what have you when he was playing, right? You could have leveraged that thing out and said, okay, there would have been no bad tape on La'el Collins, right? You could have said that, hey, we just going with the best player philosophy of he earned that spot to play right tackle, and you could have probably got something back in return for La'el Collins, but that's a story of a different day. Bert says Kelvin Joseph did good when he did play. Yeah, he did. I like Brown inside the slot. That is a good situation, Loke. But here's the problem. I'm just being real with you guys. Who had a better season? Jordan Lewis or Anthony Brown? People are sleeping on Josh Ball. Yes, Christian. Yeah, they are sleeping on. I'm gonna say this again. Who had a better season last season? Jordan Lewis, or Brown? They both had 3 interceptions. Jordan Lewis had 2 sacks, though, and I think 1 forced fumble. Anthony Brown had those 3 interceptions and when targeted. Jordan Lewis had a lower passer rating when targeted. So in that type of prism of if you playing DB and you got two-way goals, it's harder to play that nickel corner than it is to play the boundary. I recall the great Deion Prime say this one time. I like playing on the island, man. I like playing on the edge because when the receiver got two-way goals, that's difficult, man. And I'm not saying that Jordan Lewis is light years ahead of Brown. They pretty much got the same, tractions or what have you. Brown had 2 bad games. Now, I know Lewis had a real bad game, I believe, against the Raiders, though. And Brown and Lewis had a bad game against those Raiders, though. And I think Lewis had a bad game, I believe. I don't have to go back and watch it. Was it the Cards game? I don't think he played in the Cards game. And then he got hit with that C-19. Right? But they mirror one another. Let me see if that was Parker. I was looking up his stuff earlier. Let me pull up Brown. What Brown could do to you. I think I talked about this before. Let me pull this up. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now with it. Come on now with it. Come on now with it. Yeah, come on. All right, so 62 tackles, 3 interceptions. Yeah, I did. And yards per reception, 12.6. Passer rating when allowed, 84. 3 interceptions. All right, good. I'm right on the money with it. Let me go pull up. Y'all bear with me. Come on. I was doing my research on Parker earlier, and we were saying that Parker numbers there was kind of like pedestrian, but they got a 3rd round draft pick, man. They robbed him blind. 54 solo tackles. All right. 83 when targeted, 3 interceptions. Yeah, 2 sacks, 26 stops, 1 forced fumble. And did I? Here we go. 21 stops, 3 interceptions, 11 missed tackles. I think Lewis only had 7 missed tackles. Yeah, Lewis had 7 missed tackles. Passer rating when allowed. If we split in hair, one is 83.6 and the other one is 84. This is Brown right here. Yep. So, they about the same persons, man. But both had their best year ever with the Cowboys. So it's going to be hard pressed to say, okay, well, you had your best year. Now we're going to fight to see who can play that nickel corner. Now, if you go into the mindset of picking up in the cover 1 scheme, who will be available left out there on the free agent market? Of course, Tyrann Mathieu. He can play that nickel. Would you rather have Tyrann Mathieu or or Jordan Lewis or Anthony Brown, right? So those are things that you have to look at. Quay Walker is a stud, is from Chris. Yeah, I like Quay. Jordan Lewis is not only small, but he's kind of slow. This is from Aaron. I feel you.
For a group of players year 2 with a new coach, how much better is their understanding? Could there be a team football IQ benefit?
This is where you don't need, this is why you brought in Keanu Neal. So Keanu Neal was going to be able to explain to everybody what's going on. Like the guys when there was questions in the defense and Dan, but I'll say this, Dan came in with a different plan. Right. So there was some carryover from some of the things he had done with Atlanta and in Seattle and other places, but he came in with the idea of I'm going to play to your strength. So adding a guy like Keanu Neal was able to kind of fill in a little of the Atlanta the Atlanta blanks.
The language, yeah.
But everything else, Dan was like, listen, I'm going to play to your strengths here. And that's what he really, really did. So you don't need, in the second year, you don't need people to explain what the defense and what the scheme is going to do. Okay. Everybody's pretty much on pace for what they need to do.
So what he's saying is that the whole notion that the reason why they brought in Keanu Neal is to be that bridge guy. And I was telling people like that's literally the position that Neal is playing is literally Jabril Cox's position. And I really thought that what the Cowboys were going to do, and they was going that way, believe it or not, go and watch that Giants tape. When Brill was inserted in, I think after the Giants, we played the Patriots, and the plan was after the break, because the Patriots was right before the break, right? After the break, I believe in the hearts of hearts that they were going to do this right here. Because I think right before the Giants game, they also cut Jalen Smith, right? Neal had got some more playing time. We saw the rotation of Jabril Cox. And they was going to bring in, I really believe they was going to bring in Jabril Cox to take over that role. But in the Patriots game is when Jabril Cox snapped up everything in his leg or what have you. I really believe that after the Patriots game, he was going to be the starter. Or am I wrong? Did Jabril Cox, did he snap it up in Denver or did he snap it up in the Patriots? One of those things. He was going to be the guy. George says we need to go get Anthony Hitchens. We'll wait till after the draft to talk about Anthony, but he will be after the draft type of guy.
424, no, this is the Cowboys.
No, it wasn't. He didn't snap up his ankle and he didn't snap up his leg in the Giants game because he played in the Patriots game.
Are no Super Bowl appearances. Okay.
Sure.
Well, yeah, I think it'd be a long shot coming up this year. Maybe I should have phrased it like, can the defense just be better without any additional qualifiers? 214, ha, 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 they will not be as good this year. They lucked out with turnovers, not sustainable. Why are you laughing, though, 214?
Turnovers are things you create. You create turnovers. You create turnovers by being in position. You create turnovers by, being able to finish. You laugh at turnovers, but turnovers are something if you go to every single NFL training camp, you will watch them working on drills to knock the ball loose. So there's players that just naturally have that ability to knock a ball loose, to recover it, to put themselves in position. If you that's other teams. That's forcing mistakes. That's pressure. Maybe pressure forces interceptions. We saw that in the Carolina game. Sam Darnold gets hit in the face. What happens? He throws the ball in the middle of the field, and Diggs is standing right there in coverage and makes the interception and brings it back.
No doubt.
Those are things you create because of positioning and then your work to get there and make it
emphasis.
happen.
Yeah, they've really emphasized it. I do think they're going to be top 10 in takeaways still.
It's something that, again, it's not luck. I don't think it's luck because I think that you force teams into mistakes.
Sure.
And they were one of the top teams in the league last year when it came to pressure.
Randy was a big part of that.
He was. And what you also have to look at, though, too, is that Dorrance Armstrong only had one less sack than Randy. So, okay, you get Armstrong on the arrow up. Say you do. He signed, you get him on the arrow up, but then Fowler. That's, to me, is kind of the wild card right there. Are you going to get something out of Fowler, or are you going to draft one of these defensive ends? Are you going to get Sam Williams from Ole Miss? Somehow does he end up at 56? You get Sam Williams, you plug him in, he plays, and then you get the pressure. And then you got a player that might be better than Randy.
Wow, that's a mouthful. But for those who, talk about luck and things like that, especially for those who talk about, let me pull up this guy right quick. You see that guy in the far right corner, Trayvon Diggs. Oh, those 11. How many interceptions? Did he have 12 or he had 11? Y'all let me know. But for those who say, man, they were lucky. Those were all lucky interceptions, and he's average at best, and he sucks or what have you. Those are he had 11. Appreciate you, Christian. Y'all know what luck is? Let me paste this one in here and put this one in here. I'm going to type this in here. Luck is what happened when preparations meets opportunity. Write that down. Matter of fact, I'm going to pan it to the top. Pin it right to the top. Because these interceptions that we are getting, if they were lucky, we would have had at least since 1996 had this amount every other year. So I don't believe that by sheer luck that the Cowboys were getting these turnovers and takeaways. I think that coaching plays a major philosophy in this, a role in this. The know-how, claw the ball out, attack the ball, finding the right kind of caliber of players to all of a sudden get those interceptions. Quite strange to me that Anthony Brown had his most interceptions ever in his career with the Cowboys, 3. Jordan Lewis, 3 interceptions. There used to be a time that we would pretty much look at those 3 and be like, hey, boy, he got 3 interceptions, baby. We would start trying to create a statue and build it right outside of Sky Mirror, in Arlington. And they might as well do that with Trayvon Diggs. But luck is what happens when preparations meet opportunity. So I believe we will be better than what we were last year. Not from the skill set of the players altogether collectively. And that's why a lot of people were saying, Law, you must be out your mind when I said this. But I think that the cohesions and the continuity of the players that already played in this system before can understand. Like Trayvon Diggs, he will already know, okay, this is what the philosophy would be. Oh, Malik Hooker, this is what coach is really trying to present when we running this particular scheme. Parsons, you thought he was fast last season. He's going to be a tenth of a tick faster now because he's not going to be processing this in his mind. He's going to be sure, when it's time for me to hit along the C gap, when blah, blah, blahs line up and shade a certain way, I'm going to hit along the C gap. C gap is forever. When it's time for me to play my position right on the force side, I'm going to come down and force.
That's what you got to do. You got to figure out what's going on there at right end.
214. I would love to be wrong about this next season, but I think the Cowboys already made some big mistakes. Okay. 214. They let go of key factor players. Just one on defense. Just one, and that's Randy Gregory. And what Brian was just talking about, it's doable. Yeah. Dorrance Armstrong is significantly better than he was in his first 3 years. Fowler had a successful 2021, and they still have the draft. They could find something.
Yep.
Now, to that optimism there, those boys are right? Like, we are only upset at the possibility of who we could have just purchased, right? Cowboy Nation, like, the Cowboys toyed with us from this mindset and said, okay, the Cowboys toyed with us with this mindset of we're cutting Amari Cooper. We're going to take that money and we're going to go out there and get some guys. We didn't pay the money, the $70 million for Randy Gregory. We're going to take that money and we're going to go make some deals. And yet the Cowboys done any of those things, right? All they did was they re-signed Dorrance Armstrong. They fooled around and re-signed LVE for a rental. Luke Gifford, for crying out loud, right? And we supposed to say, hey, when we know from a talent-wise, from a talent position, that the Cowboys could have re-solidified this defense more with known commodities. That's why we're upset. That's why we're angry, right? But to their point, Dante Fowler, Dan Quinn, maybe, just maybe. And, of course, Dorrance Armstrong. But I'm going to tell you guys, Dorrance Armstrong, and I know Brian Broaddus, he said this on 105.3 The Fan. And shout out to Brian Broaddus. But he is definitely not a Randy Gregory as it relates to coming off of that edge and sacking the quarterback. I get it, right? 5 is one less than 6. But all you have to do is take your time and just watch those sacks. Not all of those sacks were created equal. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. But that's a story of a different day. We'll find out. Golston will surprise us this year just for Marvin Jones. Golston, I like Golston college tape. I'm going to tell you guys, the only knock that I had on him was his speed, what have you. But he's a strong dude, and he's tall. He's a tall 6'5", 6'6" guy. And normally, every year in his college career, he caught an interception. He had one close last season. So when they go into that package, and I've seen it happen for I need to pull up the game, whereas they kick Golston, of course, he's the edge guy, and they kick Law inside. They had Golston running off the edge. I said, yeah. I like it when they go into that particular package look, and I think that D-Law can play that 3-tech, believe it or not, in certain situations. So we'll find out what Golston can do going into his second year, and I'm quite sure we can trust Dan Quinn with him.
Yep.
254, can Deshaun Wright play? I'm not considering him as the players that I'm looking for to build a case that the defense is going to be better. If he plays better, I'll be surprised.
You know, he had a big role in what was going on with special teams. He had the one recovery, and then he had the one where the ball touched him and went beyond the line of scrimmage, that kind of thing, you know, that they recovered off that. But, you know, to me, like I say, I'm not banking on him. I'm banking on what I know with the other corner from Kentucky. I'm
we all banking on Kevin Joseph
for this football team.
Well, here's what's so disappointing to me about this, that you let Randy Gregory go, because kind of the premise is, could this defense be so good that it can offset that your offense is going to be worse? I thought with Randy Gregory that was possible.
Sure.
The reason they were able to hold the line so strong last year was because that trio of Randy, Tank, and Micah Parsons was terrifying to deal with.
Yeah.
Just about the only thing teams could do was run. And then, as we showed against the 49ers, they had answers for that as well. And Micah Parsons was a big part of that. Jaron Kearse was a big part of that, but they had it figured out. But all of that comes from the fact that if you do decide to drop back and pass, you had 3 Banshees coming after you, and they let that walk.
Yeah, that was the end of that. Appreciate those boys. And check out that episode fully right there. You just click the link in the description box there, or click the link that's in the chat area, depending on which platform you're watching from. Jelani is projected to be a 6th or 7th round draft pick. I think somebody put that out there. Would you snatch him up early in the 5th? You shouldn't reach for a guy like that if that's the case, depending on their draft board. I do like his overall skill set and these sorts of things. Look, dude run like a gazelle, and he's 6'7", right? And he'll be a good target area for the Cowboys, especially when you look at the whole complete picture. I don't think that Jelani would fall all the way to the 7th round, by the way. But if you feel that he's better than your other prospects, and he's sitting there and you got all of those 5th round draft picks, then why not, right? But let's not sleep on Jeremy Ruckert. Let's not sleep on Jalen Watermeyer. Let's not sleep on Isaiah Likely. Though this tight end class is a large tight end class, right? And I want the Cowboys to go back to 12 personnel look. I really do. Jelani going by the 3rd round. Okay. I'll take Jelani in the 5th. Okay. Yep. Let's see. Lewis all day. Appreciate you. Mark Holmes said Amari Cooper waited until the Cowboys player left to sign some ceremony until the came. Left at some signing ceremony until he came. Look, I talked to my guy Mark Holmes about that, and people fail to realize the dude was just traded for a bag of peanuts. And you expecting him to sit right beside Dak Prescott, and sit right beside other Cowboy players, and all they're going to be asking him all day is, hey, how about them Cowboys? Or, hey, we all excited. Ain't no enthusiasm over there in Browns country. So by him jetting out, I agree with him jetting out and just moving on. It's time to let that go. He's gone. And the Cowboys didn't fight and wanted him here. And I'm quite sure he probably would have looked at everything. He just purchased a home with $6.1 million somewhere in Texas. And I'm quite sure he would have looked at it and said, yeah, I'm willing to renegotiate or reconstruct my contract to stay here. But that wasn't presented to him. That wasn't given to him. So it goes back and it goes way further down the line of saying, okay, let's see how this thing will all shake out. Right? That's just how it is. That's natural. People look at football players like they're not human. Shoot, I wouldn't be in that either. I would say, you know what? Ain't finna be parlaying with the Cowboys gear. I would never look. If that happened to me, I would never touch the Cowboys gear and color again. Until after I retire. If that happened to me, I'd be like, nah, I'm a Browns guy. And I'm all about the Browns at this point, right? And yeah, Sam, he wasn't vaxxed, right? So it is what it is. Browns could be terrible with Watson and Coop. I think Watson still could be facing punishment with the NFL or through the NFL, for that sake. But it is what it is at this point. Cooper now, I told you guys, there's really no sympathy with ex-players. Amari Cooper now, Randy Gregory now, and whoever else, if you're not wearing the silver and blue, you are a direct enemy of the Cowboys in the Star Brand and Shield, whatever it may be. You are an enemy. You are informant. Now, I wouldn't. No. You go hang out with Browns country, regardless. Now the Cowboys may have did them wrong, but hey, that's just how it goes. It's business. So it is what it is at this point. He's now an enemy. A lot of thoughts on Jackson State, James Houston. I had to look him up, but appreciate you. Coop landed on his foot. Yep, he did. I had to look him up, man. But I appreciate you. I love weed. Appreciate you. All right. Can't wait to see Cooper in cold weather games. Yeah. Yep. He's an enemy now, dog. You can root for him until he play for the Cowboys if that is the length of your rooting for a player that don't wear Cowboys. But, man, right now he is a direct enemy of the Cowboys, and that's just how it goes. Unfortunately for him and his entire situation. No love lost at this point. Shout out to you, Corey B. Yep. He said, you root for Cooper only. I feel you. Yep. Yep. Let me get this all set up. Set it up. And now, Cowboy Nation, y'all know what time it is.
Call my phone, hit my line. Only ones who down for real, down for line. Keep it super thug my way on this side. Keep it super thug my way on this side. Call my phone, hit my line. Only ones who down for real, down for line. Keep it super thug my way.
All right, 657-390-7391. Play the beat.
Mobbing with my brothers, there's no question, keep it real.
Keep it real.
The East Coast and Norway in the heaven hills. In the popping straps of blue faces, not the pills. Heard you calling bluffs, I show and prove it is for real. Son of God, not a son of sand. Keep it off the books and keep it coming.
Keep it off the books, baby.
Bitch, the old whip, see what I'm coming in. The inside caramel just like 100 grand. Call my phone.
Do you think it's a possibility drafting James Cook with a day 2 pick?
No, that's too high for a running back. Oh, no, you said day 2 pick. Nah. I think the Cowboys, if they're going to get a running back, it should still be like day 3. Go day 3 with running back, especially when you got Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. So that's how I look at it. Appreciate you for your donation. My steers. Coach Marv, you live.
What's going on? Long time, man. Long time, man.
It's all good,
Listen,
man. Talk to me, Coach.
Hey, man. We've both been going through things. I've been going through some things with my family, too, man. So, it's good to be back, trying to get some things back to normal. But I got 3 points I want to impress on you and maybe your listeners.
Right.
The first point is about this defense. Me and you are defensive guys.
Right.
I think we're overreacting about defensive line and do we need defensive linemen. Mm-hmm. This defensive line is a very. I'm not worried about the defensive line at all, because for what I saw playing wise with the collection of parts, just think about it. Your big guy at the one technique.
Bahana? Bahana. I said Bahana. Bohanna. Yeah.
Bahana. He played for the period of time he played well. He didn't play bad. Then you had your other one technique. He was hurt for 10 games, right? And really, this was really his first season of getting a lot of playing time. The guy out of Oklahoma 2 years ago. You had Tristan Hill that only played really a little bit 2 years ago,
right?
And then he was out 6 or 7 games, and he flashed when he did come in there. He did flash, but we're not talking about these guys getting a lot of snaps.
Right.
So when they flash, it may be here and there, but they were consistent. Golston, I think he played very well for a guy that missed all the training camp, and then came out there to do pretty well for a rookie.
Right.
I think this defense was young. This was the guys out there were really in their first or second year of actually getting quality playing time, and look where your defense was at. You only had probably 2 guys that had a significant playing time with the Cowboys, and even Curse. He didn't get the significant. This was his first year getting significant down in and down out play. So if you were just that good with that, if they increase a little bit, your defense is going to be better. So I don't think the defensive line is a problem, because I see guys that flashed a little bit in a rotational system where they wouldn't count on to play 50 and 60 snaps. So you may not have the stats when you look at the pro football stats, because these guys didn't play because they had so many guys. So that's why I think the defensive line is okay. The only problem, and it goes to my second point,
right?
Linebacker is a problem, fans. Parsons is your number 1 linebacker. He needs a quality guy as his running mate in the middle. I'm not saying Cox was not going to be in that third linebacker spot. Yes, because you can utilize Cox. You don't have to take him off the field in pass downs because of his speed, but he has a linebacker mentality which will help him with the run, and his coverage skills will help him greatly with the pass, so you don't have to take him off the field as much. But you need a stout number 2 so Parsons can be a swift army knife and can help you out on the defensive end if you need that quality pass rush.
So on third down, coach, you moving Parsons on the edge regardless, right? And then you figuring out who's going to play in drop in zone or what have you. Is that going to be your more nickel packages on third? And
that'll be my more nickel packages on third. But this is the thing, Law. With the NFL, third down, yes, that's a passing down, but sometimes first and second down are passing downs. So when you rush Parsons, maybe on a second or third down, second down and long, you get the rush aspect, but you still control the middle with a veteran linebacker, a veteran stout physical linebacker to go along with him. So yeah, Wagner's gone, but we do need to bring in a veteran. Hitchison, for what we're going to let him do, he would probably be great, or Anthony Barr would probably be great, but you can't go with a guy. LV got all the playing staffs last year.
Yeah.
And we seen here and there. But like I said before, when you get that many snaps in that many games, a couple of flashes is not good enough for me.
Yeah.
You got to have more consistency, and you got to be a little bit more physical.
Yeah, man. You right on the money.
And I got a third point.
Go ahead.
Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis.
Yeah,
again, the same thing goes with the inexperience. I understand what you were saying about maybe they should have put Boss Man Fat out there early.
Mm-hmm.
But you had a successful defense. But let's look at Boss Man Fat.
Talk to me.
Boss Man Fat didn't have a lot of snaps in college. So you got to get him up to pace. Mm-hmm. He may have not been ready till you got to the end of the season, because it's a limited amount of snaps in the college. So he was learning to be a cornerback. He's probably going to be your number 2 cornerback, but when they did play him at the end of the season, when they brought him at a corner, they moved Anthony Brown to slot, and Jordan was on the sideline sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think the difference between Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis is this. Anthony Brown has a little bit more speed and probably is a better cover guy. But Jordan, in that third cornerback spot with Dan Quinn's defense, Jordan is a better run support guy. And that's where is a little difference between them. But keeping them both out there in the rotational system and getting what you need to match up with what teams you have, keep both of them there. You still could bring a young guy, because I think they're going to get rid of one of them after next year, but you still could bring another guy in and groom them, because Dan wants to play a lot of people.
Yeah, rotation,
but overall, this defense, is we have one spot that we need to solidify. And we need to get some more backup guys here and there. But defensively, that's where we at. And we're going to solve the spot on the offense. The offensive line guard is our major blemish on this offense. I'm saying that's more of a major blemish than wide receiver, because I think CeeDee Lamb is a number 1 wide receiver. So, again, Tampa Bay drafted 2 offensive linemen when they brought Tom Brady in this year they won the Super Bowl. And these guys were late-round draft picks, and now these guys are Pro Bowlers, and they protected Tom Brady, and they were rookies on the Tampa Bay offensive line the year they won the Super Bowl.
You talking about Tristan Wirfs and Wirfs, I think he said his name. And,
yes, it can be done, people.
Now the thing is they had to let those boys go through those growing pains too, though.
And you let them go through the growing pains, but they was enough to get to them to the point where they need to be. And I think we can replace the guard. In the draft, this is where I would go. I'm going guard first, because I have a glaring hole at guard. I'm not worried about Tyron Smith. All this talk about Tyron Smith, the Rams had a 40-year-old lineman out there that missed, in the last 2 years, he done missed, I think, 12 games.
Right.
What they said wasn't that they said he was the best when he's on the field. We could get around that. We just want him in times of crucial times to play when we need him. And when you got a tackle like Tyron Smith because somebody fell on his ankle and he had some ankle injuries, that can happen to anybody.
Right. So, it's just bad luck, man. Both times he was injured.
No neck problems this year.
Right. Both times he was injured by his own man. Yeah.
But the defensive line is okay. Golston is going to be a better player because he impressed me greatly for a guy that missed all of training camp and to come out and to even get quality snaps and even make plays when people thought he should have been a later round pick, but he missed the whole entire training camp. So that tells me what they see in his talent level.
I'll forever know Golston, man. He was the guy we traded to get him with the Eagles, right? We used that pick to draft Golston. So hopefully, man.
I got one other thing about the defensive line. Osa is going to be if Osa is what I think he is. Osa is a replica of Michael Bennett. His play is like Michael Bennett. His size, his speed. If he gets better from year one, because I think he wore down as the year went on, because sometimes rookies do that. But if he gets better, we remember how good he was early in the season. Right. If he gets better, why are we worried about defensive line? We are okay at defensive line. We could say that.
But the only thing is, you said Michael Bennett. Now Bennett played that edge role, though. You talking about like
and Osa he played three.
He did play inside.
He played the edge and he played three.
With Dan Quinn's system playing three, when he was playing that three and we kicked inside, it was more so like they had the other situation, whereas they had the Leo role. So who you think gonna play Leo if that's the situation? Do you think Fowler is gonna play Leo role or
they got Flower to play Leo because he got linebacker qualities.
You the man. You the man, coach. And speaking of that, Golston had 2 sacks and Osa had 3 sacks. So if you're looking at that level of production from rookies, and if you look at it from the hindsight of, hey, these guys, heading into 2022, looking back at what they did last year, maybe, just maybe, you can increase that production. 3 can turn into 6, and 2 can turn into 4.
One level, look what we got.
Yeah.
And Miller Gallimore.
Yeah.
Miller Gallimore only played, 7 games?
Yeah, let me pull up Gallimore production. You own it. Coach, you own to something, man. You own to something.
It's just Tristan Hill did not play bad himself. And you coming off the second year off a knee injury, who's going to play better? This defense is going to be all right if we fix the linebacker situation and give us another stud besides Parsons, and then that frees Parsons to say, hey, I'm going to disrupt. I just want you to clean it up.
But coach, but can you envision the Cowboys if they do draft Jordan Davis over offensive guard? And how would you feel about that, though?
I went to that's to me. That's you talking about the defensive lineman out of Georgia?
Yeah, the big boy. You draft him.
To me, if it's to me. You're wasting a pick with guys you already okay with. You're wasting a pick because you got more of a glaring depth at guard and linebacker, because you could probably you got a bigger rotation at defensive tackle for a guy to maybe give you 1 or 2 downs. When you already have that with speed and power, with guys going in their second year that have already proven that they have made plays in the NFL.
But let me ask you this, coach. Let me ask you this.
Don't have that guard.
If Jordan Davis, the best player available, and you have that spot that you're talking about, guard, and you have that linebacker positioning that's available, and you still go, would you pass up on BPA?
I'm going linebacker. I'm going guard first because that's the most glaring thing, and I may go linebacker, but I'm going guard first. I'm not going because I can see these guys. I think we're going with our saying, well, man, these are name guys, because what I said again, if these guys that I just named, Golston, Gallimore, Osa, were in a system where they got 90% of the reps, you probably will see even bigger stats from them. but they're in a rotation where these guys are only playing 20 snaps a game. So if you look at the reduced amount of reps based off what their play production is, if you equate that and double it, they'll probably have even more sacks. This young defensive line is okay.
No doubt. I'm gonna look at all of this stuff, man. I'm gonna do a ghost, and I'm gonna go back and revisit the sacks. I know for sure he could have had 3, but I'm gonna go back and revisit those sacks, and then I'm gonna revisit Gallimore and all what you're talking about. We'll do a quick.
I'll ask you this, Law.
Go ahead, talk to me.
This when you say about Jordan Davis. Okay.
Yeah.
If you didn't get Jordan Davis, could you survive and be productive because your defense was what? Right outside the top 10.
We're 12th, yep.
Without him.
Right.
But if you did get a guard, could you survive with Conor McGovern?
Well, I don't know, man.
Or could you really survive with if you're gonna put more emphasis of saying LVE in the last 2 years, he's gonna all of a sudden, if you sign him for $2 million, all of a sudden he's gonna get physical and be something 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
I feel you on that. But there are some guys that we can probably look at in the second round to play guard. But I'm not saying that you should draft a guard in the second round. But who knows? You know, Humphreys, I believe he was drafted in the second round for the Chiefs, and he had a good year last season. And I do know that, you know, trying to look for that is kind of like trying to catch lightning in a bottle. But I just look at the philosophy, especially with this first round, is you go with BPA. I would surely hate, Coach, if we pass up on Jordan Davis and us knowingly got him as our best interior pass rush or best interior guy, just to say, well, you know, we're pretty solid with Bohanna and we're pretty solid with Navel, Gallimore, and Osa, that we can just look elsewhere. No, I just look at it like this. You grab the best player available on the board. If not, you trade back. You have to get something. You just don't reach for that pick.
Well, you know, I like the best player available also, Law, but you still can't say best player available still has some limitations. It's got to be best player available that can help you now, because the best player available might be a quarterback.
Well, that's just how it go. Look,
that's what I said.
You see, look how many people, look how many people passed up on Aaron Rodgers, man. You know, and the Green Bay was like, man, he fell to the 24th spot. You know, Aaron Rodgers. You know, go ahead. They had Brett Favre. They had Brett Favre already as a quarterback. He had at least 4 years left in.
The other team was wrong too, because the other teams it was a quarterback drafted before Aaron Rodgers. They probably should have drafted Aaron Rodgers.
True that.
A lot of people was wrong on Dak Prescott.
True that. So but I don't know, man. That BPA, man. You know, look, that's how I would hold that spot, the 24th spot, for ransom. Meaning that if the tags are touching, and I know for sure I can trade back a little bit and still get said guy, kind of like what we did with Parsons. We allowed the Eagles to come up and grab that spot, the 10th overall draft pick, right?
Right.
We allowed them to move up to that spot, and we knew that we were still going to get Parsons.
I think we're going to use those fifth-round draft picks, because once we get past if we get in the third round and we see a guy that we really want, I think that's where they may move to try to get what they want. But I think their glaring position, again, Law, is they're trying to get more power at that left guard position, because more power will help the center be a very much a better center, because two power guys beside Tyler Biadasz will help him greatly. And I think they should focus on linebacker, because I don't want them to think that Curse can play linebacker, because his skill set says the hybrid position is the best thing for him. and I still think Cox is a third linebacker, but you got to get a guy in there that can hold the middle down where you can move passes around and scare offenses to death because they can't say you trying to hold the middle down because you don't know where he's coming.
Coach, now you speaking my language. You said you got to get a guy. Think about this. Just hear me out. Now, I know this happened before Tom Brady got there, but do you recall Vita Vea, right?
Right.
For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It wasn't a flashy, sexy pick, but they knew that they had to get somebody that can anchor in that interior on a DL. Think about this. Before we got Parsons, they were trying to match him up with that guy over there in Tampa Bay land. Y'all can put it out his name. His name is slipping my mind. But the reason why they had Vita Vea is so that those linebackers can fly around, play freely, and they can keep their pass level clean. Now, I'm not saying
I would say that, Law. I agree with that. But this is what I see. If you look back during the whole season, D-line was not the problem when guys was running. D-line, when there were people around the middle, because we had a guy named LVE that was clean in the holes and missed tackles.
Right. I feel what you said. LVE.
I don't think
Devin White.
That was not a
Devin
problem
White.
with it.
Yeah.
That, man, we get killed on the D-line. We had guys that in the second level, when we moved passes around to try to get, thinking that, he was aggressive trying to, like I said, Parsons need a guy where I disrupt. I'm going to disrupt everything, but I need you to clean it up. Let me disrupt and you clean up. I can't disrupt and you get ready to clean up and you miss the spot.
No doubt, Coach. You on the money, man. I'm gonna look up this D line and I'm gonna see all I can find. Maybe I'll do some film assessment on Ghost and Gilmore as well as Osa. Do those three, and it's not a lot of tape on Big Bo. I already try to look up his tape. Not a lot of tape on him, but I'm gonna try to do that as a homework assignment before the draft, and I give you guys my raw assessment on everything.
And James Houston coming out of Jackson State. I seen somebody say something about James Houston.
Talk to me.
I would pick up James Houston. Law, he came out of Jackson State. I think he had about 15 sacks. He's a transfer from the University of Florida. He was an outside linebacker. Dion made him a defensive end because he had a great skill set at pass rush. Mm-hmm. He's got great stats. A lot of things, the reason why they're talking about because he played for Jackson State. But this kid should be a late-round draft pick, and he may be a diamond in the rough coming off the edge.
No doubt. I'm going to look up my guy, my alum, Jackson State, James Houston, and I'm going to see what all he brings to the table and if he could be a steal for us. But I appreciate you, Coach.
All right, man. Take care, Law.
You too. Good call from Coach, man. Good call from him. I got somebody else that's waiting to be on the phone, too. Y'all bear with me as we pull them up. But good call from Coach, man. Real good call from him. And let me give him one of these. Yeah, that's a good call from Coach. Let me see. Now we have 540. You live.
What's up, Law?
Nothing, man. Just chilling, man. Talk to me.
Yeah, it's Bert.
Bert, man, what's good? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Just wanted to call in and talk to you. The big need, man, is your offensive line. We got to fix that offensive line. That left guard spot, and they say they already at center. I don't pass with that. I don't believe that. He could get better, who knows, but I believe if you can upgrade there, you need to upgrade that position, and that's what we need to do. We need to get that offensive line fixed. That's a big problem.
BPA,
Go ahead. The last call in, he was talking about the need at linebacker. We do kind of need another linebacker, but it ain't a need that you need to go get him right now because Jaron Hurst, he like you said, he plays safety and linebacker. He's a hybrid, and so when you're on passing downs, he's gonna be playing linebacker. I believe we should put Lawrence, DeMarcus Lawrence at 3-tech, like they did a lot last year. Use him at 3-tech,
right,
and then having Parsons beside him on passing downs, blitzing, and then if you got a big 1-tech like you're talking about, a Davis. Would you imagine a Davis then with Lawrence at 3 tech beside him, then Michael Parsons beside him.
Yeah.
That would be scary. That would be a scary defensive line.
My only thing is, not at the coach's point, the hardest part is Jordan Davis will not be there in the second. So you'll have to pretty much find a guard in the second round. So my guy, Boss Cowboy Sports, he did a mock draft where we picked up Marquise Hayes from Oklahoma in the second round. And he's a good guy that you can fit in. He's strong. His only issue is, of course, his feet. He don't have the swiftness of the feet, but he's a strong guy that can pull and he can get in the way, and he can be a second round guard. Would you sacrifice that? Would you roll the dice with that, Bert, and say, okay, we got Connor McGovern, or we can draft a guy in the second round, but dog it, the defense would be straight if you pick up a Jordan Davis in the first and just roll the dice in the second with the offensive line? Would you do that?
Whew.
Because you got a big hole regardless.
Yeah, regardless, either way you go, you ain't messing up. I don't believe you're messing up either way you go, because as deep as this draft is, you can get good players that should be gone in the second round that are going to be there in the third and fourth round. I mean, this draft is so deep. I done studied over 300 players, and all 300 players is draftable in my eyes. I mean, this draft is so loaded. It ain't like loaded at the beginning of the draft in the first round like you usually have over the years. It's not a deep class, in the first round. But after you get out the first round and you get into the second, it is deep. It's got a lot of players that should be second and third and fourth round talents that are going to fall to the fifth and sixth and seventh round. I mean, so it's a hard call when you ask that question.
I know, right? I mean, that's the roll of the dice, man, when you're thinking about the draft is the unknown. That's why I truly believe, J.C. Treader, he will put a Band-Aid on this, although he's long in the tooth. But at least, you got a guy that got positional flex that can play guard and center. But for the majority of his years in the pros, he played center. So that still will have a voided area at guard. So I just think that it goes back to this. The first-round draft pick must be a guard. It got to be a guard on this offensive line. I don't see any other way the Cowboys shaking things out unless they go with the situation that we just presented. They go with a Jordan Davis, and they roll the dice in the second round to fill that void in at guard, since they didn't fill it in free agency.
Double dipping that offensive line, to be honest.
What you mean when you double dip? Like first and second pick?
You could either go first and second or first and third, because the offensive line is damaged. It needs to be fixed.
No doubt, Bert, man. We're gonna have to figure this out, man. What else you have for the show?
That's all I want to talk about. I just want to talk about that offensive line, because it desperately does need fixed. And I just wanted to say, either way you go, this draft is so deep. There's no way that Jones should mess this draft up. It should be a really good draft for us. They should be able to nail it on the head, and I do have faith in them drafting, because they've always done a real good job. And McClay, he's one of the best scouts in the NFL. So I got all my faith in him.
No doubt. We'll find a way to work it, man. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Good call, patient call from him. All right, so you guys get what I was trying to say and convey there. All right, so, yeah, he's 6'5", 325, Perry Lock. Yeah, I know you probably know all about him, man. Marquise Hayes, man. I think in the second round you pick up a guy like that, and he's strength. He got strength. He have a fighter's mentality. I mean, he can. He's a whole lot. Look, I'm not trying to put Connor Williams in the grave, but I just think that he have a different mentality. He's a finisher. He'll land on you. He pancake you. I mean, he's a guy that'll scrape you up off the floor or what have you. And if you can pick him up in the second round, that would be a good situation. And then you go with your defensive guy in the first, if it's Jordan Davis, or if it's a situation where it's an unbelievable pick out of DB. If there's some DB that you said, man, I can't pass up on him and I'm going to go with that guy, then it could be a slight situation there. Or if you fool around and say to yourself, we dropped the ball. We absolutely dropped the ball, and we need somebody to take the pressure off of James Washington. We need somebody to take the pressure off Simi Fehoko and Noah Brown. And let's insert in maybe a Chris Olave. Maybe you insert a Treylon Burks. One of those guys. It could be a situation just like that, and the Cowboys go with the flashy pick, and then in the second round they go with a guard, and that could be just our scenario there. Fortunately. All right, so I have the 919. What's on your mind?
Hello, can you hear me, Long?
Yes, man, you live, man. You live. What's good?
Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think Dallas going to double dip in between the first and third on offensive line.
Okay.
And the reason why is because if you look at Dak, and a lot of people throw Dak on the bus. Some people, and I'm not going to throw him on the bus, but the reason why I say they're going to double dip is because if you go back and look at Dak's history,
right,
we could dominate running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
We played our best. And to me, when Dak was most clutch, was even his rookie year.
Right.
And you look at that receiving core then, it was Cole Beasley, Terrence Williams, and Dez, who was not the Dez. He wasn't garbage, but he wasn't the Dez of the old.
Right.
So we ran that rock. And when we ran that rock, Dak made clutch throws, clutch situations.
Right.
One thing about the NFL, you look at the 49ers. 49ers receiving core is not that good. It's not really flashy. But when they can run that rock, when you can run that rock, it just makes defense just defend you different. And it helps your defense on top of that.
Right.
And to me, I think Stephen Jones is somewhat saying, build his offensive line up, get this running game going. And I think they're going to dip and get a running back in between the fourth and fifth with another thumper. So if Zeke get hurt again, they got another thumper to go with Pollard. Because I think they're going to use Pollard. This year, I think they're going to really use Pollard in so many different ways to get the last bit of money value out of him before they let him go.
He's going to let him go, huh? This is contract year, man. Yeah. Yeah, he's more beloved. I mean, Ezekiel is more beloved than Pollard, right? And this is a contract year for Tony. And yeah, I can envision a world that the Cowboys let Tony go, or it's a situation where I can feel you on that. Yep.
Because I'm gonna tell you why. Stephen Jones, to me, I don't think Stephen Jones is a big fan of Dak Prescott.
Stephen Jones, okay.
I think, Stephen Jones, not Jerry, but Stephen. I think what Stephen's gonna do is just meet my prediction. He's gonna get a running game. He knows Dan Quinn's gonna build that. That defense gonna take another step. And he gonna try to get a dominant running game.
Right.
And he gonna look and say, Dak, if you got a top 5 defense and a top 5 running game, and you can't get us out of the first round, you're not our quarterback. You're just not. And that's gonna give him the excuse and the not having the kickback of saying next year draft. Y'all don't say I don't make no deals. I'm gonna move up and go get us a quarterback. Because next year draft, that's when the quarterbacks all coming out. They claim next year draft is the quarterback draft.
Yeah.
We're gonna look and say, you know what?
But the only thing is that Dak Prescott got a no trade clause on his contract, right? So that put him in favors, and he got 120 guaranteed money. Go ahead.
Okay, but after next year, ain't that his last year? Is a really big deal. And they can kind of get out of it after next year. 2023.
I'm gonna look into it because I do know that 75 million of it. Yeah, I'll find out.
I believe this year, and then next year. And see if you draft one next year, he can sit behind that. And I've heard iron sharpen iron. You say that. Sometimes you put another young guy behind that. There's a high pick. You make it as my old folks say, either crap or get off the pot. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, if you look at Dak, what's Dak's record when he have a running game?
30-0, man. So you put that around the quarterback.
When he don't have a running game, what is his winning?
He's 52 and 26. So, I mean, the 26 games that's lost, you can all point back at other various things, but even that record is remarkable, right?
Yes, but what I'm trying to say is, I think Dak is a good quarterback. I like that.
Right.
He has an it factor. He's a great leader. But I'm not going to sit here and say that he's limited somewhat in arm talent. when it comes to his accuracy issue. And also, he holds the ball too long. That hurts the offensive line, too. He led the league and lost fumbles this past year. And, I've seen times when I watch games, the offensive line looking back at him saying, man, you ain't let it go yet. Anticipation throws. All them things come back. But when you can run that ball, them windows get really big. You see what I'm saying? Now, Jimmy G can play at a certain level with a running game. What do you think Dak can play at a level with a running game? Because I think Dak is better than Jimmy G. I think Dak is better than Kirk Cousins. And when Cook is running that ball off, Kirk Cousins lights it up.
Yep.
But the thing about it is, to me, Kirk Cousins and Jimmy G don't have that it factor that Dak has.
Okay.
All I'm saying is I think Stephen Jones and I think Mike McCarthy is going to look and say, you know what, let's go back to being a run team first a little bit and run this ball. And if Dak still struggle with this, then it is what it is. And as we as Cowboys fans, we're going to have to accept it because Dak is a lovable person.
Yeah, but this is my only thing is if you convert to a run team, you still got Kellen Moore calling the plays. And look, Kellen Moore, the growth of Kellen Moore, I think that Kellen Moore, I think the world of Kellen Moore, I think he's a good guy personally. But I just don't think that he can draw up and craft up running plays, just in my opinion, from my evaluation.
You were 100% right. But I believe this year with Mike McCarthy, I believe he's going out on his terms. Don't be surprised if you don't hear some rumbling at times. Because if I'm Mike McCarthy, I got a gun to my head to a certain degree because you can always put Sean Payton out there.
Big facts.
If I'm going to go out, I think he will go out his way. I think Mike McCarthy has enough balls, not like Jason Garrett, to say, you know what, I'm going to go out my way.
Yeah, I do feel that a little bit. Yeah.
I'm going my way. That's why I think he's sitting around here, running around this combine, because I think he's looking saying, I know what the Joneses is. It ain't going to change. So guess what? My way make it. Let me go out my way. And guess what? The one thing about the Joneses is if it works, winning heals and make you forget everything.
Man, boy, if any family needs some winning, it will be the Jones family. But I appreciate you, man. Oh, yeah, man. But I appreciate you, man, your thoughts, man, your love for the channel, man. I thank you so much. What's your name again, fam? Rico, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we spoke a couple weeks ago when you and Boss was on together.
Oh, okay, Rico. Yeah. I see it. I see it now. Yeah.
I've talked to Boss a couple of times. I've talked to Corey all the time.
Yeah, man. Good points, man. Thank you so much for calling in, man.
And look, I sent some money on a cash app.
Okay, Rico.
Didn't take it, man. You don't want my money, man.
Man. When did you send it? Did you send it to the right person? Because there's another person named Law Nation. He probably be taking all type of money. But if you click the link,
he didn't take it.
He didn't take it. Okay.
He didn't take it. It just sat there, kept sitting there, and then they threw it. They kicked it back to my account.
Oh,
but
okay.
Try again. I like to show love to all to your guys because.
Man,
y'all speak the facts. Y'all speak the facts, and you don't let the politics get in the way. You call it like it is.
Man, that's the hardest thing to do, man, is not get into the politics part of it. But, I appreciate your love, man, for the channel. And what we're trying to do this year is to get out to Oxnard. Last year, I waited till like 3 or 4 days before the training kickoff or what have you. And people are like, Law, where you at? So this year, I'm going to make it my business to be there for the grand opening and everything. So I appreciate you, man. Every dollar counts.
You're welcome, bro.
Appreciate you, Rico.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
It's a good call from Rico, man. Let me say I was going to bring up a point. Kellen's just a play collector. Yeah, I feel you on that. All right, so this will be the last call. Let me lock it.
The conference has been locked.
Because Queen of the Peace Corps already stuck her head in the door 2 times like, hey, y'all hear the kids. All right, so we got 910, you in.
How you doing, nephew?
How you doing, Auntie? What's going on?
Oh, hey, it's going.
It's good.
Just continue to you and Mark Holmes. I swear, you guys have the insight that I wish that the Peanut Circus has. It's just disheartening as a Cowboy fan to continue to watch our team flounder. I think defense will be good. I love Randy Gregory, but I also feel that we will be fine without him. And if you think about it, we were able to spend that money on additional players, and hopefully those players won't make the same, boneheaded mistakes that he made at critical times during the game.
Right.
And with the way that whole deal went down, I know the Steven tried to pull a fast one, but I also feel that, with Gregory's agent being from Denver,
right,
all right, come on,
right. I'm listening to you.
He had some ulterior motives as well.
But you know what? Just to be fair to everyone, the Cowboys originally never offered the $70 million to Randy. They offered him a lower contract, and Randy, his agent being able to find a legitimate contract for him. He found that one, and then they presented it back to the Cowboys, and they had the opportunity to match it. Then they matched the contract, but they inserted the language on the contract. And just like, if you're fined for any fine, it doesn't say for marijuana or anything. Like, he could have socks too long, right? That avoids the guarantees money. So I believe that what Randy was looking at it, like naturally, he was like, man, this team believed in me originally. Although the Cowboys paved the way of giving me opportunities to play, but this team originally agreed with me with the $70 million.
They did, exactly, but that Steve Jones is going to be the ruin of our organization, because one thing, billionaires think that they are smarter than everyone else.
Right?
How do you think that buy something in? One thing I do not like is when people try to make me, think they're smarter than I am. And
right.
Not going to notice it.
Right.
Okay, I'm done.
Right.
I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And again, all this dirty, underhanded, the scheming, that he's involved. He thinks he's so much smarter than everyone, and all this dirty dealing. We're not going to be able to attract top talent. Who wants to work with a snake? I mean, you may as well go order you a Cobra online, or go wherever you need to go to get one.
Yeah.
And bring it in the house and deal with it. That's what you're dealing with.
Yeah, and you can't hide behind it's personal, personal business now, because now it's out to the world, like the whole situation with the child, and from her reports, from her recounts, is that all I want you to do is just embrace me, man. Just say to the world that you are my father. I don't want nothing else. But since you refuse to do that, then that give me 20. What's like a lot of people look at it from their pocketbooks, but he's a multi-billionaire with a B. So asking for $20 million, that's asking for crumbs now, because she's literally saying, you give me the $20 million now, and I'll walk away without even bringing this up.
They get. You're always, verbally assassinating other people. Now, when your dirty laundry comes out, oh, this is a personal matter. It's not a personal matter.
Right.
You're putting all your play information out there. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Those old folks, when you listen to those old adages and sayings that they have, they are true.
Yeah. I mean, them old folks. The old folks be right. And for all, like, it's crazy, like the domino effect. Like Jerry Jones Jr. with the sex tape. Like, I ain't finna go watch it, but, man, dude, come on, man. You the billionaire's son. You got the namesake. And man, God, dog. How can you do that? Yeah.
But they're going to all the information. When they're trying to make a player look bad, they verbally assassinate their character, their integrity. But when something comes out on them, it's a personal matter. No. It doesn't work like that, sweetie. It does not work that way. And that's all these things are happening to them. I think you made a statement on one of your shows I watched recently. It takes the truth a long time to get out of the bed, but he does get out of the bed eventually.
Eventually. And that truth just been walking slowly, And by the time I'm not gonna know, what's up, Jones family? I'm here now. I'm here. What's good? They propping their feet on the couch and everything. And oh my gosh, man.
Everything you do comes back to you, sweetie. You don't get away with anything in this life. I've lived long enough to know that. So I just wanted to share that with you. I don't want to hear nothing about them saying something about a personal matter. No, it's not personal.
Shoot, we family now. You got the largest family in the world, and we all know now.
If the players' business can go out there, guess what? Yours is going out there too.
Trust and believe. Yeah, yes, indeed, Auntie. It's crazy though, but it's how it is.
It's called karma.
Yes, indeed. So, but I appreciate you so much. What else you have for the show?
That's all pretty much. Like I said, I'm enjoying. I haven't liked the moves, all the moves that we've made, but it is what it is. I think because of coaching, defense will be fine. I got to wait to see what Mike McCarthy's going to be able to do with the offense. But defensively, we shall. I'm pretty sure we're going to be okay because we have someone that actually teaches the players, hands-on. So we'll be fine in that. I'm not worried about the defense.
No doubt.
People are just going to have to step up.
No doubt.
We
definitely
didn't
do
get
that.
Bobby Wagner. It's just obvious we are not an organization that's trying to win. We're just trying to remain sort of kind of relevant, which much to the chagrin of the fans. But, we just, I don't get it. Keep doing the same thing.
Expecting different results.
And I'm hoping, my hoping is that this young lady is acknowledged and she has a part in the Cowboys, and maybe we can see some changes because we're not going to see anything with Steven. He's got to go.
Hey, but, to be positive, Steven is the only clean one. Steven clean one. Appreciate you, Auntie. He the clean one.
Okay.
All right, peace.
No.
Oh my gosh, man. Stephen Jones, the only clean one. Like, I'm looking at all of the investigation. I said, gosh, man, look, I ain't trying to run their names through the mud, but man, at this point, you need to step down. The whole family, Gene Jones and Stephen Jones, the only two clean ones out of all of this, and we just hope that Stephen Jones don't have another thing to pop up or something like that. But according to David Moore of I think he worked for the Dallas News or what have you, or the Athletic, his report, man, is crazy, man. And I look, and I noticed I don't see Gene Jones in the picture. I only see Jerry, I see Charlotte, I see Jerry Jr., who look just like Jerry, baby. And then, and of course, Stephen Jones. But man, if you guys click and read this article right there, my God, you be like, God, I thought that he was the reserve one. I thought Jerry Jr. was the reserve one. I said, man, oh my gosh, he got that scandal going on, and oh my God, I ain't gonna go into details, man, but y'all read David Moore. I don't know how he walk around Dallas freely, man. Oh my gosh, man, it's very crazy, man. Oh my gosh, Jerry Jones Jr. Oh my God. She said, I don't mind you taping me, but can you delete it? Jerry Jones Jr. said, yeah, I deleted the tape. And then he sends it over to Shy Anderson. You know what I'm saying? Shy Anderson was the ex-husband of Charlotte Jones, and he kept the tape. I'm like, oh my gosh, man, there's so much stuff that's going on with this. Look, they missed out. I think Keeping Up with the Joneses would have blew out every single Keeping Up with the Kardashian episode, by the way. But my goodness, man, it is what it is. I hope the Jones family can figure out a way to get this thing going in the best direction, though. But for us to know that when you read the article, that literally every single situation happened immediately after 1996. Just read that article. Go to this guy's tweet and click on DallasNews.com and read the article, man, from court records, from everything of who shot John F. Kennedy and a whole bunch of stuff, man. They got everything in there, man, and it's crazy. And I think that would have been, instead of Hard Knocks, and they could have really did just the Jones family stuff, and it will be the number one seller of all times. But it is what it is. We hope all is well with them. But it's a situation whereas for us to be as competitive as we've been since 1996 and knowing all of this stuff that's been going on, man, we got to say to the Jones family, man, that's a lot of stuff, man. And Jerry Jones Jr., he's only 12 years older than me, so it's not like, he's young and dumb. Hey, look, he's only 12 years older, So it's not like it's a situation whereas I can look back at this thing and say, hey, man, this is no, he ain't that much older than me. He's only 12 years older than me. So that's a situation, it's just the far apart between me and Botch Lombardi, They ain't that much, he ain't that much older than me. God grief. But just read the article and you realize that, man, the Cowboys, if the Jones going through all of this, how in the world can we even be afloat the way we are? It is what it is, man. Cowboy Nation, really appreciate everybody for tuning in, but that's the end of the show. But shame.
Shame.
My guy says competitive since 1996 without a playoff run. Yeah, believe it or not, we've been competitive since 1996, even without a playoff run, right? Right? Since 1996, we have 4 playoff wins, and I feel you, though. Yeah, but we still competitive, we compete. We do, Cowboy Nation. But there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and something good going to happen out of all of this. It is what it is, Cowboy Nation. The Cowboys are where we at. But it is what it is. I tell people all the time, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, if you can trust yourself, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting or lied about, don't deal in lies or hate it and yet give way to hating. And don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. Listen to this part right here, Cowboy Nation. If you can bear to hear the truth, you spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools. If you can watch the things you gave your whole life for, broken and stooped, and build back up again with worn out tools, and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe one word of your loss, you, my friend, have unlocked the true meanings of what it takes to be a champion. Most importantly, what it takes to be a man. Cowboy Nation, let me give a shout out to Asmodeus, man. I thank you so much for your donation. Thank you. Let the AI read it.
I believe that the Cowboys are trying to prove a point that they can get to the promised land without all the big ticket items.
You right on it, Asmodeus. And Sadiq will appreciate you for your donation too.
Well, how are you and the family? I pray all is well.
Yes, indeed. It goes back to what Paul said, triumph and disaster. You walk with kings and presidents, nor lose the common touch. Neither haters, foes, friends can harm you. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, Cowboy Nation. Let's continue to find ways to evaluate what's going to happen less than 30 days. Let's go over this team. Let's comb through all of these things that's going on right now in the Cowboys community and the Jones family. All we can do now is pray for them. Better days going to happen for them one of these days, right? That's been my time, Cowboy Nation. I really appreciate you guys. Be sure to hit that like, share this content, let a friend or a neighbor know where to go when they want to tune in to Cowboys Sports Talk and beyond. Brandon Tillman, appreciate you. Paul, thank you so much. Asmodeus, thank you so much, man. One of the mods, man. Really been helping this channel grow. I thank you. Sharing is caring. Thank you, guys. Let's go.
Nowadays, nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody's like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on bling and she freeze.
Iceberg kill. Yep.
No, please, no photos. Hit the door.
Thank those who watched that vlog video. Peace out, everybody.
New deal to my lawyer. If you're down in my management, I'm just warming up a way till I old producers saw the numbers one. Different colors in my baggy light.
Come on.
Chalk it up. Talk of the town where you're talking up. Wanna get you a ring and you talk.
Get you a ring, baby.
New things for your pockets, though.
Come on. Perry Locke in the house. Appreciate you.
Now I move up and move humble cause they hating the jealousy.
Y'all see this video? This is the short version of the video. I actually had the longer version and I talked over. It's like 28 minutes long, and I appreciate those who watched that video. It was difficult for me to do, man, by the way. But if you see this video, we have the long version. It's like a vlog style, and we put in a lot of work, man. Cowboys experience, and we working out on another deal for the draft. We're going to have a draft party at Walk-Ons, one of Dak Prescott / Drew, who was the other guy? Not Drew Pearson. Drew Brees. Yeah, Drew Brees and Dak Prescott partnering with Walk-Ons. We'll be there at that location for the draft. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank everybody for jumping in. Thank everybody for tuning in. And we will be there. So it will be a draft party. I have more details for you in the next following weeks about it. So let's go, Cowboy Nation. One love, baby.
I got wifey on bling and she freeze. Photo, please, no photos. G's, no, please, no photos.
Yeah.
Nowadays, nothing really excites me. Only one of me and nobody's like me. Phone ringing and I tell him it's ice. I got wifey on bling and she freeze. Photo, please, no photos. G's, no, please, no photos.
It's your birthday this month. Happy birthday to you. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. And, you know.
Thief! Stop! Thief! Come back, thief!
Don't be leaving. Appreciate you, Thomas. One love to the nation. Let's get up out of here. Peace. Go Cowboys.